Hello everyone, this is Naveen. I am from Beltech High Tech Dr. Rangarajan and Sagundala Devi Engineering College. This is Sarna University final year MCA project, demos and presentation. This is my title, Pattern Mining Using Genetic Regression Technique in Disaster. Objective, I am using the technique for data mining technique in large set of data from the tsunami dataset. I am using dataset to import the data in unstructured and structured data from the three types of processing technique. One thing, concurrency data processing, and sequential data processing, cumulative data processing. Is three types to use it and import the data from the application, from this application, and use the main objective algorithm is genetic regression technique. Genetic regression technique is uh, this is a type of genetic regression technique. Genetic used by biotechnology can use this algorithm and manipulate the genotype and phenotype. But I only use for genetic regression technique from this formula and algorithm steps, and use this data and regression technique to predict the disaster from day to day analyze and predict the disaster from that locations and damage value. Damage value is estimated uh, death values in the existing system from fully manually controlled. It's full and full manpower to use analyze these data, but it it's very really have some drawbacks. Financial systematic risk analysis for integrated analysis of a web of contracts to find dependence between financial entities, and homeland security, the analysis of social network and financial transaction of possible terrorist attempts. Computer security, through the analysis on log information and other event no security information and event management SIEM. These problem definitions are no suggestion based approach in provided, and that situation we have some suggestions from the government sector to public, but we don't have the, and that situation cannot make the decisions from that situation. So we, this is the drawback of existing system, and is not a artificial intelligence approach in this missing from the data processing based situations, and we will lose some lives from the disaster time. Proposed system, I'm using these four types of processing, three types of processing, and genetic regression is the final estimation to the predicted values. Sequential data processing, one by one data is sent to processing engine. Cumulative data processing is an whole data will be sent to processing. Concurrency data processing is a some chunk type of data will be processed to uh, data engine, processing engine. It's it's a media files. Either genetic regression technique is an final estimation value to find this regression technique to use find the values and the results. This is in genetic regression definition. its least square method and filtering fitting the regression line. Challenge involves the calculation of best fit line for the observed data for by mining of sum of the square of the vertical deviation from each data point of the line. Because deviations are first squared when added, there is no cancelling out between positive and negative values. So otherwise use this genetic regression technique to perfect prediction values to find out and calculate the damage values and estimate the impact to find out the impact of disaster. Proposed system metrics is suggestion engine automatically manipulate the suggest the kind of data processing acceptable for the big data engine. Yeah, it's an acceptable of big data engine to automatically suggest the uh, old data sets datas and more accuracy and provide a faster engine. It's provide the faster engine can be situation can handle and firstly we can uh, make decisions, find exact locations on map. It's predict the locations using data set. The data sets have the magnitude and the longitude values from the disaster impact areas. So we can use that. I can use that longitude and magnitude values to find out the locations. It's time saving and reduce the people quickly, rescue the people quickly. Easy to handle the situation on that time. It more powerful and helpful for rescue team. This is architecture of diagram. First of all, client is a data set. Data to collect the data from the client. Big data server processing is an collected data will be stored. It's and the other three types of data processing, they will take the data under processing at that time into genetic regression and finalize visualize the client. Client is a crime team of rescue team. System requirement, software components. Front end is in .NET using Visual Studio 2010, .NET Framework 4.0, backend SQL Server 2008 or 2, operating system Windows 7, hardware components, processor can have Core 2 Duo, speed 2.0 GHz, RAM 2 GB, hard disk 160 GB. It's enough to my application. Data flow diagram. Using these three types of data processing to load the data and the data loaded the perform track from these techniques. Second diagram. Sequential data. Use these three types of data load to perform the data and manipulate the number of death values, time. Second thing is load the same process and perform the data manipulating the locations and time. And the fourth diagram is use these three types of processing data and perform the data manipulating the average of death, average of impact, time, and happen to the individual method and techniques. Finally, use the prediction algorithm for genetic regression technique. Use case diagram. Big data servers to take the admit the data and three types of data will be load to and find out the final prediction value and visualize the visual team of crime team is an rescue team. Sequential data processing, cumulating it is it's more powerful data processing from the null values, and we have to reject that. And the activity diagram is in sequential data processing, and the three types of data processing to import and the final prediction to find out the result. Sequential data processing. Server can access the data, and three type of processing will be occurred. Admin can use the final prediction algorithm for genetic regression technique and visualizing the result from client. Client is an crime team of rescue team. Table designs. We have lot of columns and a lot of data, but we have used only years, country, latitude, longitude, magnitude value, death values, and injury values. It will be used for our application. This is data set detail, NGSD, and WSD, Global Historical Tsunami Database. This is a global historical data from the tsunami dataset consists of two related files containing information on tsunami events from 2000 BC to the present in this Atlantic, in Indian and Pacific Ocean and Mediterranean and Caribbean Seas. Screenshot and module descriptions. Modules are description, sequential processing, cumulative processing, concurrency processing, location analysis, impact estimation, damage estimation, final prediction. First, sequential processing. In this module, the disaster data is getting proceed and it is manipulated the sequential manner. The data and the SQL queries will be proceed in sequential manner, so that processing will be happening based on the input data received. This is a screenshot from the sequential data processing. Next, cumulative processing. In this module, the data will be loaded at the short, and this cannot be inevitable. Blank data will be loaded at the short and it become memory incentive operations. This is cumulative data processing screenshot. This is concurrency processing. The module focuses on concurrency technique in which the data will be accessed simultaneously as club of data. The chunk data is proceeded simultaneously. It got the similar memory intensive operations, but the bulk operation is not so much when compared to the cumulative process. This is cumulative concurrency data processing screenshot. And location analyze module. This module provides the location process of the map. The data based out of latitude and longitude value happening in the system is manipulated. Location analyze screenshot. It analyzes the magnitude value to compare the longitude values to estimate the locations from the location analysis module. Impact estimation. Magnitude values are manipulated these modules. Calculate the years versus and date time operation in core manipulating point. This provided how much impact is happening on this system for each magnitude seek operation. Yeah, its magnitude values can be manipulated this module and calculate the year and date time operation to manipulate this impact can happen. To use that year and date, to system can process that data to manipulate the magnitude seek operations. This is an impact estimation screenshot. Is estimating the magnitude values. Damage estimation model. The destroyed house and destroyed house values are manipulated in this module. Calculating the destroyed house and destroyed house operation in the core, manipulating the point. This provides how much destroyed and damage happening on the system for each data to seek operations. Other, it is providing the death values and estimating the death can calculate to showing the data from the processing data in disaster management. Damage estimation model. This is a screenshot and three types of data processing tools showing the final prediction to use. Find out the results from the 55,978 to 33,047. This is estimated for death counts. Final prediction. To impact the genetic regression, it is to implement the genetic regression technique and final manipulation is done from the module. The whole average of death read operation and value of counts death magnitude and location analyze module to this impact values to calculate the final prediction module, and the result will be implement that map and showing the final death counts to visual client. This is a final prediction screenshot. The final prediction performance evaluate. This is an 55,978 to 52,037. It will be predicted death count and the final prediction location. It will happen to this time. It will be used to predict these locations. This is a predicted area from the Australia. This is my demo section. I will start my application. Now I start my first processing, sequential processing. I will start now. The data will be processing now. It take huge amount of data, so it take huge time to load. So we have to wait for loading time. The data sets have 8,000 records in this data set. So I will import in database. The data will huge amount of null values. I will eliminate it and the main data will take to upload in this process. The sequential data processing now end to upload the data. It's done. I will start next processing, cumulative processing. Now I start that process. It's loading the data. The cumulative data processing is done, and the other process will concurrency process. Now I select it. Now I start my concurrency processing. The data will be totally I will upload it, so it will take time to eliminating the null values. The concurrency data processing is done, and the eliminated values and null values will be listed by now in this light dialog box. And then next I will go now job queue view processing. This job view processing have 4 types of modules in one page. I will select first location analyze module. The location analyze modules will show the location of how much of location will be located to analyze. And next, impact of estimation model. The impact is in one or two areas will be impacted from this tsunami. Till now have the data set, date and month, time it will process to handle the database and process the data to find out the impact of areas. Next, damage estimation model. This damage estimation model will show the estimated death counts from 69,259 to 55,978. It will be estimated death counts. Next, final prediction model. I will import in genetic regression technique in this final prediction model. The final prediction model overall processing the data will use the genetic regression technique to estimate the death counts and the final prediction of analyzed areas from the impact of areas. I will select the predicted location area. It shows the location from the impact of area. It's loading now. The database will be filtering the data and using the data mining technique and genetic regression technique to analyze the areas to till now date use to impact of areas to find out the locations from next predicted areas from the tsunami. This is an predicted area. Next, predicted area in Japan. And another predicted area is South Africa. In the predicted area to have tsunamis will be happen in future. So I will alert in rescue team. This is my project demo.